Alright YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today guys, we are gonna do the Ryzeal deck guide, tech, combos, whatsoever. So the combos are pretty much straightforward, I would say. What I can relate this to the current decks that I have actually used, it's more like of an Exosister type of gameplay, but a little bit more tedious. Yeah, that's basically it. Let's go towards the core deck list. I won't waste any more of your time. So recently we got the newer supports for the Ryzeal, which is the star. But more importantly, we're going to talk about the core first, the big four for the deck, or the big three, because the other one is just for an extender. So typically, what you need to understand with the Ryzeal is that they have archetype effects that can be spell summoned to the field. But more importantly, the spell summon effects restrict you into using just rank 4 monsters. Rule of thumb, Sword Ryzeal adds you 1 Light Pyro monster. And then Ext Ryzeal adds you 1 Fire Thunder monster. The other one, the Ice Ryzeal, you need to normal summon this to spell summon any Ryzeal monster from your deck to the field. Node Ryzeal just spell summons to the field if you have an Exe monster on the field or in the graveyard. Secondary effect, you can send 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard, target 1 Ryzeal monster, except Node, and then spell summon it in defense position. And lastly, for the Star Ryzeal, you can spell summon this card from your hand by detaching 1 material from a monster you control. So it's typically like of a Goblin Bikers type of effect. If this card is spell summon, you can set 1 Ryzeal spell and trap card from your deck. The spell summon effects for the other Ryzeal is, for Ice Ryzeal, you need to spell summon this from the hand by sending 1 card on the field or hand. The Sword Ryzeal, if you reveal 1 Ryzeal monster on the field or graveyard, and the Ext Ryzeal is if you send 1 Exe monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, you can spell summon this. The plug-in is basically a quick play monster reborn in a sense, and also you can attach 1 Ryzeal card from your deck to 1 Ryzeal Exe monster on the field. Cross, which is your field spell, you can target 2 Ryzeal cards in your graveyard, shuffle them to the bottom, then draw 1 card once per turn. When a monster effect is activated, you can detach 1 material from a Ryzeal Exe monster, negate the effect. And for your trap card, which is the important one, there is another trap card that you can use for the Ryzeal, but the banishing effect doesn't really pan out for us in the current format that we're in, since we are still in the Malice format. The Plasma is a pretty good card that you can search, so target 1 face-up card your opponent control, up to the number of Ryzeal Exe monsters you control, destroy them. Then you can attach 1 Ryzeal card from your graveyard to a rank 4 Exe monster. You can banish this from the graveyard immediately after this card resolves, Exe summon 1 Exe monster. And for the extra deck, we have Detonator, the quick effect Pop, and also if this card is spell summon, you can attach 1 monster from your graveyard to this card as material. And lastly, for the Do Drive, this is primarily your searcher for the other Ryzeal cards. You can detach 2 materials from a monster you control, and if you do, add 2 Ryzeal cards with different names from your deck to your hand. So any spell and traps or monsters that you need, you can get it from Do Drive. If this card is spell summon, you can attach 1 Ryzeal monster from your graveyard to this card as material. So that's basically the gist for it. With regards to the number of copies, for the star, it's only 1 copy. Pretty good extender. For the Ice Ryzeal, one of your best starters as well, so make that on 3 copies. Sword Ryzeal, one of the best starters as well. Node is typically like the star, so it's just on 1 copy. And lastly, for the X, definitely 3 copies because it's one of your searchers as well. For the 2 spell cards, 1 plug-in and 1 to 2 copies of Cross. It really depends on how you play Ryzeal. 1 of each, and lastly 1 Ryzeal trap card. That's it for your extra deck. 2 of each is the best way to play this deck. So that is your Ryzeal core deck list. Let's move on to the variants for this deck. Alright, so for our variant for the deck, we have here Maxi, some couple of Forbidden Droplet, and your typical staples like Imperm, Ash, and Veilers. Also, if you're dealing with the format of Malice, you can change the effect Veilers to Lancia, since we're still dealing with Malice at the current state. The Aratama into a copy of Sakitama is 2 level 4 fodders. And then the extra deck is a buttload of level 4s. The Aggregator is pretty useful for this deck, so if you absorb Aggregator and detach it on the 2nd turn, you can still use that effect to negate 1 card on the field, and that would be another interruption during your turn. 7th Dakion, one of the broken searchers for this deck, since you can search out a light monster with number 104. 1 copy of Eclipse Twins. I do think that running a 2nd copy of this might be beneficial, but it's really up to you. Banshee is another good card. We can actually use this other than Ryzeal. I'll talk about the tech cards after this. So that is basically your Ryzeal or pure build. let's move on to the second one, which is the Dinomorphia. Alright, so for the Dinomorphia build that I managed to like research on, this is from Spanko YugiOh. So this is not my personal list, by the way. So this is quite interesting because I've been looking for some other variants for Ryzeal other than a pure version. So the 2 copies of Ice to Sword and 2 copies of Ext is the Ryzeal cards. The rest are for Dinomorphias. So your typical negations, which is the intact, 2 alerts. I think 1 alert is pretty useful already, so just settle with 1. And then go for 2 domains, 3 frenzies. The benefits with both Ryzeal and Dinomorphias are quite good. The power of Dinomorphia to control the field plus the Ryzeal's pop and negation is, well, it pairs too well. I can't wait to actually like use this one in the game once it is going to be released. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you want a deck list for this, it's going to be in the comment section. So that's Dinomorphia. Let's move on to the third variant, which is Voiceless Voice. Okay, so our next variant would be the Voiceless Voice. So typically the same number as what we had a while ago with the Dinomorphias. 2 Ice, 2 Sword, 2 Ext. We're not reusing the star, but just the copy of the node. The 2 Diviners, your typical numbers for the other Voiceless Voice cards. And that's basically it. The 2 Diviners, I was a bit hesitant on running a 3rd copy, but you know, lessening the copies is still alright, I guess. Herald, dumping it to the graveyard. You can run 1 Herald for this and just use a copy of Entes if you like. It's still pretty good to have an extra pop if you're going second. We'll talk about the other extra deck monsters that you can actually use with this deck, which is kind of good though. So that is your Voiceless Voice. Like I said, deck list will be in the comment section. So here we are with our last variant, and that is with the Sharks. So Sharks are quite interesting. There's only like a couple of cards that you can actually use from the main deck for this. So the Surfacing Big Jaws is another good card to have on the field. So during your main phase, if a spell card is activated, you can spell summon this to the field, and you can attain a copy of 1 Shark or 1 Fish monster. Typically, the Drake Shark is the best way to actually do this. Summon this to the field, and this is already 2 materials for if you use it for exit summon to a water monster. You can go into your Stealth Kraken. This is somewhat of a control type of a shark build. Stealth Kraken turns everything on the field to water monsters. Plus, it can pop 1 water monster on the field, so that's pretty good. If it dies, you can summon a copy of Stealth Kraken spawn on the field, which is still pretty good in my point of view. I think that's basically it. Also, 7th Tachyon is a broken card. So that is your last variant for the deck, and like I said earlier, deck list will be in the comment section. So with that, let's move on to our tech cards for the Ryzeal. Okay, so for our tech cards, we have a couple of cards here, but majority of the cards that you can actually use with the deck is from the extra deck. So let's talk about the main deck first. Primarily, well, extra deck and then main deck. So we got Nemesis Flag and Nemesis Protoss, or Arch Nemesis Protoss, since it is still available in Master Duel. The reason for this is Infernal Flame Banshee is the way to go. Detach 1, take 1 Pyro Monster from your deck and either add it to your hand. So Pyro Monster is typically your Nemesis Flag, and once Nemesis Flag is on the field, you can add 1 Nemesis Monster from your deck to your hand, and then you can search out a copy of Nemesis Protoss. Go for Protoss on the field and call Dark. So that is an anti-malice floodgating on the field. Next one will be the 7th Ascension and the 7th Tachyon. Technically, you can just use the Tachyon directly here. 3 copies still available in Master Duel, by the way, so pretty good. For the extra deck, so first and foremost, you have the Ouroboros. 3 level 4 monsters is easy enough to summon to the field, especially if you're dealing with Ryzeal. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, and then each effect can only be used while this card is face up on the field. So you can send one random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, or target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. I don't think the third one would be very beneficial against Malice, but still pretty good. Target 1 card your opponent controls, return that target to the hand. So that will be another beneficial card if you're dealing with Malice. But next one, we have also Gallant Grynite. Now, this is somewhat of Adamantimator support. Now, the reason why I want this is because you can get Nibiru from this. Next up, we have also Castel, the Sky Blaster. So you detach 1, flip it face down, detach 2, target 1 other face-up card on the field, shuffle it into the deck. Pretty good card effect. And the majority of these cards are just generic, so you can spam them on the field however play you like. Next up, we have Starlage Photon Blast Dragon. Now, this is quite of an interesting card, and it's just 2 level 4 generic monsters. While this XE summon monster is on the field, your opponent cannot target monsters you control with 2000 or more attack with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. That's a pretty good card to have actually on the field. And since Ryzeal monsters have more than 2000 attack, this XE monster would pan out quite well with the other XE monster in the field. The Banshee, like I said earlier, for your Nemesis monsters. And lastly, for the Rafflesia. Now, questionable at its sense, but I've seen a build for this one that you can use Trap Tricks of Rafflesia with Gravedigger's Trap Hole. Now, if you're not familiar with the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, if your opponent activates a monster effect on hand or in the graveyard, you can activate this one, and then you negate the effect, and then inflict 2000 damage to your opponent's life points. The effect of Rafflesia states you can dump 1 Trap Hole card from your deck to your graveyard, and it will copy its effect. So with that, that is your Ryzeal deck. Let's move on to our Ryzeal engines. Okay, so here we are with our Ryzeal engines. It's very straightforward though. So it's Fiendsmith. So if you start off with Fiendsmith, you can just bait out some negates, and then you play off your Ryzeal afterwards. It's up to you. Second of all, Kashtira is another formidable engine as well. But, you know, you aren't going to be using level 7 or rank 7 monsters anyway. So just focusing on the main deck monsters is still very impactful on the field. And lastly, we have our Horus engine, which just basically spams level 8s on the field. So that is basically it, your 3 main engines that you can use with decks. Let's move on to our combos for the deck. Alright, so here we are with our combos. We have only 3 combos for this deck. Like, if you're using this as a pure version, it's easy enough to do. Ice Ryzeal, Ext Ryzeal, and even Sword Ryzeal are both 1-card starters. So let's start. First, we have our Ice Ryzeal, and I'll show you guys what I mean a while ago by this deck spams a lot of level 4s on the field. So let's start. We go for normal summon our Ice Ryzeal here. Normal, spell summon a copy of Sword. Sword, get a copy of our X, dump 1 Exe card to the graveyard. For this combo, we're just gonna dump Duo Drive. Either way, whatever Exe monster that you can dump, go for it. If this card is spell summon, we go get a copy of Node. Go for Duo Drive, detach 2 to gain us access to a copy of our, the 2 spell cards. The copy of Cross and Plugin. I was looking for that name. So Cross is gonna be our monster negate. And there you go. Shuffle 2 cards, draw 1 card, spell summon the node. Go for our Detonator, which is our last monster in the field, which also pops, and then set our plugin. So pretty good stuff, easy enough to actually do. But, you know, you can choose not to summon Detonator here if you like. There are a lot of a wide plethora of choices that you can actually do with this. If you already have another Ryzeal monster on hand, you can just special summon that monster to the field for a Detonator on your last summon. The rest, it's up to you if you want to go for Dugaris, the Banshee. If you're going second for Tornado Dragon, popping cards, whatever, it's up to you. But this is the simplest form of the field that you can actually do with the deck with just a copy of Ice. So with that, that is our first combo. Let's move on with our second combo. Okay, doke, so here we are with our second combo, and this is with the X. And like I said earlier, X, Ice, and Sword are all 1-card starters for this deck. So typically the same thing. So with this, we need to spell summon first X here by dumping an XZ monster to the graveyard, whatever XZ monster that you need. If you're going second, I do think Aggregator is the best way to go. But anyways, X on the field, spell summon, gain access to our sword. We reveal 1 Ryzeal monster in the field, spell summon the sword, gain us access to a copy of Ice. Since we haven't normal summon, go into a copy of Duo Drive. Upon summon, attaching 1 card from the graveyard to it. Detach 2, search out the 2 cards. You can choose, if you already have the plug-in or the cross on hand, might as well gonna get the trap card instead. But yeah, anyways, this is it. Plug in and cross. Cross is going to be activated for a monster negate if ever your opponent, activates a monster effect. Normal summon the Ice, get the node, and then go into a copy of Detonator. And then set our plug-in, and that's basically it. Oh yeah, cycle back 2 cards and then draw 1 card. So, same thing, same board. I can choose to summon Detonator again last. And choose to summon other level 4s, or rank 4s I mean, to play out the game. So that is our second combo. Let's move on with our last combo. Alright, so here we are with our last combo, and this is with the sword. Now typically, if you're gonna start off with 1 card combo with sword, you can't actually like spell summon this, because you need to reveal a Ryzeal monster on hand or on the field. So with this, we can still normal summon sword, by the way. So there we go. Normal summon sword, get a copy of our Ext, dump 1 or send 1 Exe to the graveyard. You can use Ext, then chain block it with the aggregator if you wish. Then Ext, get a copy of node, spell summon the node here. Go for a dual drive. You can use the effect or not, it's up to you. But for dual drive, detach 2, gain us access to the 2 spell cards, the field spell and the plugin. Plugin activated. We go for plugin, or the cross activated, and then we go for plugin. Spell summon the node to the field, attach 1 trap card from our deck to 1 Ryzeal Exe monster on the field. That's one of its effects for plugin. And with that, we have 2 bodies in the field that we can go into a copy of Detonator. So there we go. Upon summon, attach 1 from the graveyard, and that's basically it. Shuffle 2 cards, cycle back 2, and then draw 1 card. So that's it. The only difference with the sword here is you don't have any back rows, but if you have other Ryzeal cards on hand, that would be somewhat of another good material to be on the field. So with that, easy enough to actually do. And like I said earlier, this is the standard board that you can actually make. There are a lot of variants that you can actually use with Ryzeal. But anyways, that is basically it for today, guys. That is Ryzeal for you. If you want the deck list from the variants that I've talked about earlier, the next video I'm going to post is with regards to the newer Lightless Shadow. That's it for today. Keep safe, good luck. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. See you later, guys. Goodbye.